Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the online VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be trying out a tournament-winning team featuring Snow with Abomasnow and Cetitan. This team was built and piloted by a player called Atmosphere, who actually just started his own YouTube channel recently, so I've linked that down in the description below. He also did a really awesome team and tournament report, so I'll also link that video down in the description below. But Atmosphere won a online grassroots tournament with over 200 players with this team. Snow is currently still a fairly underexplored archetype in competitive VGC, so it's really cool to see him win the entire tournament. And I'll link the results of that tournament also down in the description below. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down in the description below. And thank you so much as always for watching. If you enjoy, it would really mean a lot if you'd leave a like on the video or consider subscribing. It really helps me and the channel out a ton. So thanks so much for joining me today, and let's get started. Once again, a huge thank you to Atmosphere for building and sharing this team. He did a really amazing in-depth breakdown of this team that really dives into the specifics, so I highly recommend you check that out. I've linked it down in the description below. I'll give you my brief summary after trying out the team a little bit, but really recommend watching that video. And question of the day, with us using Snow, I want to know what Pokemon you think can utilize Snow well that aren't currently being used at the moment. Frostmoth is a sleeper pick in my opinion. I'm planning on featuring it relatively soon as well, so can't wait to show you guys what I've been cooking up with that. But yeah, let's talk about this team. The first Pokemon to talk about, of course, is the Abomasnow. So Abomasnow is valuable because, of course, it sets up the snow, which is really nice for Cetitan. And when the snow is up, Abomasnow and Cetitan both get a defense boost, essentially, if they are Ice-type and they don't Tera into Water. And so Abomasnow here has 76 speed EVs. The idea here is that under Tailwind, it outspeeds Mousehold and everything slower than that, which is a pretty nice benchmark to hit. And Tailwind exists on this team on Hydreigon, and so that's kind of the idea there. Otherwise, you just have max special attack and then the rest in bulk, basically. So this is mainly used for setting up the snow, has good offense between Blizzard Energy Ball, and of course, very importantly with this team, is able to set up Aurora Veil. Aurora Veil is a really big deal for this team, allowing Cetitan, Armarouge, and Annihilape to just survive attacks a lot better than they normally would. And these Pokemon are all decently bulky as is, so with the Aurora Veil, they're even harder to KO. Cetitan is the next Pokemon to talk about here, and this is a really interesting version. As you can see, it's not very speedy, actually. Only has 36 speed EVs, so even under Tailwind, you're still not necessarily outpacing, like, Choice Scarf Pokemon, for example, or Dragapults. But the idea is that this allows you to run so much attack and defensive investment. And so with this HP and Special Defense investment, the Cetitan can survive a Choice Specs Make It Rain from Golden Go without even going for Tera, which I think is a really cool benchmark. And so the idea with Cetitan is to just maximize damage output. You have really solid coverage between Icicle Crash, Liquidation, Superpower, and Heavy Slam. Adamant Nature and Max Attack is pretty critical. It feels like often this Pokemon just falls short of picking up knockouts, so you want to just put yourself in the best position and get as many KOs as possible. Water Tera here is really nice because it gets rid of your weakness to Fire and Steel, and then makes you resist them. And so yeah, Abomasnow and Cetitan in itself is just a really strong duo. I'd say, like, when I use this team, it's like one of my go-to leads, right? And so the question I ask myself is, okay, does the opposing side have anything that threatens Abomasnow and Cetitan? You're going to want to watch out for weather, so Torkoal, Tyranitar, Pelipper, for example, are really good Pokemon, or really scary Pokemon to go up against. And then Trick Room, I think, can be a pretty annoying combination for this duo, because like Cetitan's obviously fast and can't protect in front of Trick Room. And so that's where the rest of the team construction really comes in handy, and I think, once again, really cool job by Atmosphere to cover for weaknesses. And so you also have the Entity and the Armarouge combination. This is a really strong lead duel in itself as well. You can go for Follow Me into Trick Room immediately. Armarouge is the only Pokemon that currently gets access to Expanding Force, and so that's just a really powerful attack. And with Safety Goggles, you, of course, can not really, you can just ignore opposing Amoonguses. And so, yeah, the idea is that this duel can do a lot of damage with Helping Hand plus Expanding Force, but it can also be disrupted by going for, like, Follow Me plus Trick Room. You certainly can go with Trick Room with this team. Entity, Armarouge, Abomasnow, Annihilape, for example, is a really strong Trick Room core. And so, yeah, overall, the Entity here also cool to call out that has Fairy Tera with Dazzling Gleam. And so Fairy Tera can allow you to wall some things, for example, like Hydreigon. With Fairy Tera, you know, if like they've committed their Tera already, Hydreigon is still just Dark and Dragon. Fairy Tera can just like completely wall them while you also threaten them with damage, which is pretty awesome. Helping Hand's also just really valuable in maximizing the damage output of Armarouge with Expanding Force and Armor Cannon, as well as everything else on the team. To round out things, you've got a Life Orb Hydreigon here. This is Tailwind, and it's Tera Blast with Poison. And so this is a really nice duel specifically to surprise things like Sylveon. As you'll see, like, Fairy is just relatively annoying for this team, as you don't really have any resistances or immunities that are super good outside of, like, the Armarouge, for example. And so this gives you a way to, like, potentially KO this Fairy-type Pokemon and, yeah, just completely catch them off guard. So one combo here. Otherwise, it's just classic max speed Tailwind Life Orb Hydreigon. Annihilape is the final Pokemon, and I think this really completes the team. I cannot stress how important this Annihilape is to the composition. It's not just like a Cetitan team, right? Like, Abomasnow is really important in essentially, or Abomasnow is important in enabling the Aurora Veil, and then Annihilape is really well positioned then to take advantage of that Aurora Veil, and then click bulk up a bunch. With this speed investment, it outspeeds max speed Breloom, which is a nice benchmark to hit, and so, yeah, that way, like, with the Lumberry, you really don't have to worry about Breloom too much. Breloom's something that's picking up in usage as well, from what I've seen, and so, yeah, makes sense to go for that benchmark. This also allows you to outspeed a lot of the Annihilapes that are also, like, bulk up variants, for example. So, general idea behind bulk up Annihilape is you stay on the field for a long time, you keep boosting up your stacks for Rage Fist, and then Rage Fist just does massive amounts of damage in the late game, and you have good sustain with Drain Punch as well. So, yeah. Plenty of different ways that you can utilize this team. I think I always, in my head, like, think immediately, okay, how is Abomasnow plus the Titan or Indeedee and Armarouge as lead duos? Do they have good answers to those? If not, then I actually just default to one of those, but if so, then I'll consider some other options. Abomasnow Annihilape is cool. You can just set up Aurora Veil and start going for bulk ups immediately, for example. You could go with something like Hydreigon plus Indeedee to pressure Follow Me plus Tailwind. Armarouge and Hydreigon's interesting because you can actually pressure like Tailwind and Trick Room simultaneously, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, really excited to showcase how Snow can be utilized and how, you know, Abomasnow and Cetitan open up other strategies in this format as well. So let's get started. Okay, we've got Goldengo, Dragonite, Hydreigon, Rotom-Wash, Murkrow, and Mudsdale. This feels like a really good game for Abomasnow and Cetitan. I do worry about Murkrow and Goldengo as the lead. So I kind of want to set up Tailwind with Hydreigon. I can use Indeedee for redirection to protect the Hydreigon. Or I could go with Armarouge, which would be really good into Goldengo, especially thanks to Wide Guard. Okay, I'm kind of down for this Armarouge Hydreigon combo with the Abomasnow and Cetitan in the back. Basically, the theory here is I can pressure Tailwind and Trick Room. And both are decent. We'd prefer Tailwind here, because if we set up Trick Room, then Cetitan can be a little bit awkward for us. But if they set up Tailwind, and we have Trick Room, then Cetitan, even with Snow up, is totally okay. They're going to go with Hydreigon Murkrow. Okay. Huh, so this is fairly interesting, because, you know, you could just Tailwind and then target one of my two Pokemon. I might go for a pretty crazy play here. I suppose I could Taunt Armarouge, and then Draco into Hydreigon. Like, the crazy play I want to go for is Tailwind and Trick Room. And I know that seems crazy, but here I really expect Hydreigon to pick up a one-hit knockout onto one of the two Pokemon. Or they could do that. Okay, this ends up working out. So Murkrow goes for Taunt. It's always risky to go for Tailwind and Trick Room, but essentially, like, I'm really hedging that one of the two Pokemon won't be able to move that turn. It would have been awkward if... Well, actually, even if Murkrow clicked Tailwind, it would have been fine, I think, because then I have generally slower Pokemon, and, like, Abomasnow, for example, is then looking really strong. So, one of the big questions here is, who do I consider going for a Tera with? I could Tera Hydreigon just to survive, like, because I'm worried about losing a speed tie here, essentially. I really would like to Tera Cetitan, though, I think, ideally, and especially into the potential Goldengo in the back. So I'm thinking just Draco and Armor Cannon here, or Draco and actually switch out into Cetitan immediately. Oh, I actually don't dislike that idea. But this turn's a little bit scary because maybe I lose a speed tie between the Hydreigons, which would be a little bit less than ideal, so we'll see. Yeah, Murkrow's going to Tailwind. I could have considered Terraing here defensively, but I don't know if I really want to commit my Terra like that. Nice. We do go first, so maybe we won the speed tie there. But that's huge. We get rid of Hydreigon, and Cetitan is now really well positioned. So this is kind of the plan that I was going for. Set up Tailwind and then have Cetitan in Snow. So the next turn I can just pivot Hydreigon out into Abomasnow, for example. Goldengo does come out here. Okay. So with Goldengo out, I don't know if I actually really want to make this switch, because the defense boost from Snow doesn't really provide us any value. In fact, if anything, I'm actually kind of down to just Dark Pulse Golden Go here. Tera. And it would be kind of sick to Superpower if they went into Steel Golden Go, but I think we just Liquidation here for damage. Like, the upside for me right now is that I'm going to have Aurora Veil, or sorry, not Aurora Veil, Assault Vest. And I'm going to turn into Water Tera. So, Golden Go shouldn't do much damage to us, but if Murkrow has Foul Play, that is going to hurt us decently. But this was kind of my way to try to get around Golden Go early. Okay, this also works. They don't go for a Tera, so Dark Pulse just does super effective damage, and they actually Dazzling Gleam. So Cetitan takes no damage, essentially. You can see how bulky Assault Vest Cetitan is, especially with this EV spread. I'm going to Foul Play. That's going to hurt. It's going to really hurt. But if Liquidation gets this KO, then Abomasnow is very well positioned, in my opinion. Okay, excellent. That's huge. I was really surprised to not see a Golden Go Tera there, but I'm very happy because now I still have the speed advantage. I get to bring Abomasnow out. I can pressure with Icicle Crash onto both Pokemon. Rotom's their last one, which is pretty perfect for us for now with the Abomasnow, but we don't know the Tera of Rotom yet, which is scary. Snow is up. I don't know if we need to Aurora Veil here. Foul Play still, yeah, because like we're no longer Ice typing here. I have Aurora Veil, I have Energy Ball. I'm just worried about it being Focus Sash Murkrow. So here I don't mind going for Energy Ball onto Murkrow as well as Icicle Crash. Icicle Crash should KO. No Tera on either, huh? So we just one-shot Murkrow. Beautiful. That's exactly what Cetitan is kind of designed to do, especially against these more Murkrow-oriented compositions. And it's Trick. That's probably Scarf or Specs. I would expect Scarf. But it's Specs. Okay. Well, we get a Choice Specs boosted Energy Ball off now into Rotom. And that's going to bring it down to the Sash. But now we can just deliver the final attack with Cetitan. So you can see Cetitan's value, right? Like, the ability to pressure Murkrow with the one-hit knockout in itself is really awesome, especially in a format where Murkrow is one of the most common Pokemon. But that was kind of the logic behind Cetitan in this current metagame. Like, right now, we have so many teams that have a lot of Dragon types. This team had Hydreigon and Dragonite in Team Preview. Garchomp's really common. You think about a lot of the other common Pokemon, Meowscarada, for example. And so Cetitan pressures a lot of those Pokemon with just a big one-hit knockout immediately, so that in itself is really, really nice. And then the rest of the team is designed to kind of beat the things that pressure Cetitan, right? For example, Hydreigon here, super good into Golden Go. We were able to just Dark Pulse them. I think they really needed to Tera the Golden Go that turn, but I guess if they were Ghost Tera, it wouldn't have actually accomplished anything. Dazzling Gleam is also interesting. I'm curious what item they had on it. Maybe Choice Specs. Like, I normally don't expect to see Gleam on non-like Choice Specs or maybe Assault Vest sets. But the reality is my opponent just didn't have a great opportunity to Tera. I think maybe potentially winning the potential speed tie between Hydreigons was a big deal. They could have considered tearing Hydreigon there if they had a defensive one. That's also another option. But in the end, yeah, it was just tough for my opponent to like really get a good Tera out. And so Cetitan was able to get the one-hit knockout onto Murkrow, which is really nice. Survive as well, deliver the final KO onto the Golden Go. And yeah, I'd say like I didn't get the lead that I really wanted because like I think, for example, if I just let Abomasnow Cetitan would have been pretty well positioned right from the start of the game. It would be under Snow. They can now set up Tailwind, and I was kind of trying to think long-term, right? It's like, okay, if I lead Abomasnow Cetitan into Hydreigon Murkrow, it looks really good for me, but then the problem is they can just set up Tailwind and then sweep me, which is why I thought it was really important to first set up my Tailwind with Hydreigon and then go from there. But yeah, the Tailwind Trick Room play could have maybe a little bit ambitious, ended up working out okay for us. Like, my idea was I just need some kind of speed control to outpace my opponent, and if you know, I get Trick Room up, that's also okay because Abomasnow under Trick Room is really strong into their team composition as well as Armarouge. Like, that duo, I think, beat most of my opponent's team. So, yeah, definitely a fun way to get things started here. Okay, we've got some fun Pokemon here. Amoonguss, Dragonite, Farigiraf, Annihilape, Kingambit, and Skeledirge. So, a lot of new Pokemon here. Trick Room is slightly scary. An Amoonguss and Farigiraf lead, for example. Kind of down to just showcase the Titan Abomasnow immediately here, I think. And in the back, Annihilape has the Lumberry, which is pretty sweet, and is also really solid into King Gambit. The Lumberry helps against the Amoonguss. Hydreigon's pretty decent damage overall, but I think Armarouge is also worth considering here. Both are solid. I lean towards Hydreigon a little bit more here, I think. But I guess if Trick Room goes up, Hydreigon's not looking that great, right? And I'm worried about Fairy Tera Skeledirge. That's popped up a decent amount. I'll go with Armarouge. So I think, yeah, like, their team is interesting because it doesn't scream like hard Trick Room to me, but like there's enough slow Pokemon there, plus the Trick Room user that naturally makes me think, okay, that's the one thing I should really look out for here, but a lot of interesting Pokemon for sure. This feels like a potential final Gambit into Trick Room setup on turn 1. Now, one of the things to note is that the Cetitan is not that fast here. So if this is Choice Scarf Annihilape, you can actually outspeed me. But we have a ton of HP. So Annihilape should not be able to actually get the knockout onto us, which is huge. So turn 1, I'm actually interested in just going for Ice Skull Crash into a Blizzard immediately. Yeah. Okay, they just go for close combat, that's fine. Yep, this is where the snow buff is huge for us. We have the defense boost, so we survive, which is wonderful. Looks like they indeed are Choice Scarf. Oh, but we miss Ice Skull Crash. Okay. That is fairly annoying. Trick Room is going to get set up here. Well, I can go for Aurora Veil now. And we'll outspeed the Annihilape. So I could go for Aurora Veil into Liquidation here, for example. That's a bummer that we missed, but I'm not sure we would have gotten the knockout there anyway. It's gonna be Hyper Voice. Not that much damage onto us. Bombasno sets up Aurora Veil. And at least with Liquidation, we can't miss here. Impressively enough, Annihilape actually survives. I would not have expected it to survive there, but I actually don't think this trade is that bad for me because it denies them a free switch in while they have Trick Room up. And so interestingly enough, this actually gives me the ability to now bring out my Annihilape. Oh, I could also reverse Trick Room with Armarouge. I actually don't hate that option. I mean, the alternative is going into Annihilape and just going for Blizzard into a bulk up right now. I don't think that's too bad either, especially with us getting the Aurora Veil up. Missing was definitely a little disappointing, but like I said, I think Frigoraph would have survived anyway. So, yeah, let's start bulk upping. Annihilape's pretty decent into everything in the back on their end, and then I'll just go for a Blizzard here. Okay, they do have Psyshock, which is less than ideal for me here, but doesn't do that much damage, thanks to Aurora Veil. And of course, that's increasing my stacks on the Annihilape as well. Smart of them to not go for a Final Gambit on turn 1, by the way. Although I guess, actually, if they had gone for Final Gambit, they would have gotten a free switch in a little bit sooner, which may have benefited them. There's the Citrus Berry. We get bulk up. Let's see what comes in. King Gambit would make a lot of sense. I think if King Gambit comes out, though, what I can do is just Tera Annihilape. It's going to be Skeledirge. Okay. Shinies look so cool, by the way. Like, I'm inclined to Tera here and then Drain Punch into Frigoraph. And then switch out into Armarouge. So Bombasno switches. And the idea basically is with Tera, we should survive most attacks from their end, especially with Aurora Veil plus Bulk Up. I get to increase the stacks on Rage Fist, and I get to sustain via Drain Punch. And then the next turn I can just protect Annihilape, stall out the last turn Trick Room. So, yep, there's Fairy, Skeledirge, not super surprising. I called that out earlier. This is just fairly common right now. I do have to think about its ability though, because then it means like the Bulk Up boosts don't really matter on the Annihilape. Okay, but Water Tera here removes our weakness to Psychic and Fairy, so this is a really nice defensive Tera for us. Yep, they're just going to Side Shock, no problem. Only did 29 damage, nice. And then Torch Song. Beautiful, into Armarouge. Okay, perfect. So that was an excellent turn for us. Annihilape is going to get the Drain Punch off, does not get the knockout, but honestly, I think it's actually better to not get that KO, because right now the Fergaraf is not really that threatening. So it's the last turn of Trick Room right now. You just turned into Fairy typing. Protect plus Armor Cannon here doesn't seem too bad. I don't know if Annihilape's really even threatened by much here, truthfully. Like, I could just Rage Fist, no? I don't think they're really going to actually have that much offense to threaten me, so I actually am down to just Rage Fist here. And Armor Cannon. Actually, I want to... Oh, I don't even know if Expanding Force gets that KO. Fergaraf doesn't really scare me much, so I'm down to double up here. Helping Hand, though. Oh, what do you got? What do you got for us? Can you really get a KO here with the Aurora Veil up? It's going to be Shadow Ball, so the answer might be yes. Let's see. Close, but not enough thanks to Aurora Veil. Beautiful. You can see how big Abomasnow's Aurora Veil earlier in this game was for us, though, right? Wow, that's just a one-hit knockout. That is so strong. Nice. So Skeleturge faints, and we'll get the KO here as well. So I wish the Titan could have done a little bit more, but I think this game highlights how well the rest of the team complements Abomasnow and Cetitan, right? So Rage Fist won't actually go off there. So yeah, I maybe could have gone for Drain Punch to cover for that, but Fergaraf is not what's really threatening me here. We know it's full moveset now as well. It's King Gambit coming out. King Gambit should not really be able to beat both of these Pokemon easily. It is going to be Supreme Overlord, though. Okay. I don't want to lose to... Like, we still have Aurora Veil for a turn, plus a defense boost. So I think here it's best to just Drain Punch. Make sure Trick Room doesn't go up again. And I'm down to Armor Cannon here. They'll probably consider a Sucker Punch, but that's fine. It'll just be a 2v1. And Annihilape is super good into King Gambit. So the point I was trying to make earlier was... I think this battle showcases how well constructed the team is around the Abomasnow's Aurora Veil, right? So Titan obviously capitalized a ton off just having the Slush Rush. Not so much in this game, but just in general. In this game, not so much mainly because, yeah, we were actually still slower than the Choice Scarf Annihilape on the opposing end. And, yeah, then they set up Trick Room, so we weren't just outspeeding them consistently. But in general, Slush Rush is obviously just a really good ability. And so Abomasnow gave us a ton of value in this game indirectly by setting up the snow, giving us that defense boost so we could survive, and then also setting up Aurora Veil so that the Armarouge and the Annihilape were just super well positioned. And I think part of this was, yeah, just the water defensive bulk up Annihilape. They didn't really have super good damage into it, no like strong grass types attacks, for example. And Amoonguss ended up not coming out in this game. But that's also why I wanted to bring the Annihilape, because the Annihilape had Slum Berry, so it would cover for an Amoonguss Spore into that slot, for example. Abomasnow is also valuable into Amoonguss because it is grass typing, so it's immune to Spore. So yeah, overall, I think this was a really interesting game to highlight the strength of how good Aurora Veil can be, not only for Abomasnow and Cetitan, but the partners as well. Armarouge surviving that helping hand Shadow Ball was really nice as well. This Armarouge has 244 HP and 4 special defense EV, so fairly bulky. And the Aurora Veil just goes such a long way there. So, yeah. In the end, I think this was a very nice game to demonstrate how good Bulk Up Annihilape can be, especially when paired with screens. And Drain Punch is just going to get the final knockout here onto King Gambit. So, Cetitan really doesn't love going up against Trick Room. Doesn't really love going up against like opposing weather, especially Sun, for example. But that's where the rest of the team is kind of designed in a way to, you know, give you some assistance against those kind of team compositions. And I feel like that's exactly what happened here, even with a miss on turn 1. So, yeah. Wow. Definitely some Pokemon I have not fought against in a while. This almost feels like a I was going to say a 2014 team with the Amoonguss, Tyranitar, the Clotzer, and the Scizor, but then there's an Armarouge and a Mimikyu. Very interesting. So they have Trick Room, they have Weather, and they have Scizor. All of those are pretty scary. No great terrain control, so I think this might actually be a pretty good game for Indeedee and Armarouge. With Indeedee, Armarouge, Annihilape. So Titan's fairly weak here in my opinion. Doesn't really threaten with too many big one-hit knockouts, but I like the idea of Abomasnow to control the weather. Blizzard just does decent damage, and then Energy Ball into Tyranitar is also fairly valuable in my opinion. So yeah, I think denying Trick Room would be good. Tyranitar would be fairly scary for the NDD plus Armarouge lead. If that happens, though, we can just easily pivot out into an Annihilape, for example. But it's going to be Mimikyu and Armarouge. Okay. Well, I have Expanding Force and Psychic. Terrain is also up, so you can't Shadow Sneak with Mimikyu. Both Pokemon can Trick Room from their end. Could consider a Tera. Sorry, did I say Expanding Force Psychic? Expanding Force Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam. I guess I don't really want to activate... Like, they could have Wide Guard here, right? That's fine. We'll see if they have it. Oh, interesting. Okay. They are not going to protect, not switch, and there's no Wide Guard to start, so I feel like that's the best possible outcome. Curious if Mimikyu is actually bulky enough to survive this Expanding Force. It is, okay. Pretty good damage onto both, though. They're going to respond with their own Expanding Force. Trick Room. Light Form from Armarouge. Trick Room does go up. I honestly want to reverse their Trick Room right now, which we can do by simply going for a Follow Me. And then Trick Room. And then I can Helping Hand Expanding Force next turn. Although if I'm worried about... Oh, they Protect, okay. Are you going to have Wide Guard on that if you have Protect? I'm not sure. Either way, Mimikyu shouldn't really do too much to threaten us here. Could Taunt, but it's just going to be Play Rough. Excellent. I'll take that. Yeah, the question is whether or not their Armarouge has Wide Guard right now, because maybe they don't have Trick Room and instead they have Protect, for example. And Wide Guard here means... Like, I honestly want to just go for Helping Hand plus Expanding Force here. I could Armor Cannon to play it a little bit safer. I do think denying Trick Room here feels fairly important. So, for example, Protect here into Armor Cannon. Would you have Wide Guard, Expanding Force, Protect, Wide Guard, Armor Cannon? But the Armarouge could also have Trick Room as well, which makes this awkward. Alright, I'm down to go for Helping Hand, Expanding Force. Mimikyu switches, maybe into Tyranitar? Yeah, nice switch. Okay, let's see if we can KO Armarouge or whether or not they have Wide Guard. They might be trying to Trick Room here. Helping Hand goes off. No Wide Guard, no switch, no Tera. Let's see if this is enough to KO. Nice. Okay, beautiful. This is the strength of the NDD Armarouge combination. Okay. So let's see what switches in now. Klotzer. I really haven't seen this Pokemon in many, many years. So cool to go up against it. We'll see what it really wants to accomplish. I mean, we've got a Bombstone and Annihilape in the back. I don't mind protecting here into Expanding Force, I think. Tyranitar doesn't really scare me with Annihilape in the back. Like, Annihilape's probably one of the best Pokemon you can have into Tyranitar. And once again, that's like how this team was composed, right? It's like, oh, I have a bunch of Pokemon that are weak to rock type attacks, like Abomasnow, like Cetitan. It's going to be Grass Tyranitar. Well, if they have Terra Blast, that's pretty interesting. I got to be a little bit careful about going for Terra on Annihilape then, because we're Water Terra. But that's also interesting because now you're just Grass type, meaning you take more damage, or you take any damage from Expanding Force. Armarouge Expanding Force is just going so crazy right now. Like, yeah, that is so much on a both. Ooh, it's Dragon Dance T-Tar, though. Okay, that makes things very interesting. Rock Slide is looking fairly scary right now. And they Dark Pulse into NDD. Okay. The problem is I'm probably just getting hit by a Rock Slide right now, right? Dark Terra Armarouge doesn't solve that problem for me. That Dragon Dance might be a pretty severe problem here. I can Follow Me in case they crunch. Oh, I have Wide Guard. Huh. I actually think that's the move. Yeah. We're going to Dazzling Gleam and Wide Guard here. Clotzer's gonna get a KO, but this prevents me from getting double knocked out by a Rock Slide. They may just Crunch, though. We'll see. And if they did go for Crunch, then it would have been better to just go for Follow Me Expanding Force, but there's Rock Slide. So I feel like this game just highlights how strong Armarouge can be in this format. Okay, Rock Slide into Bolt. Dazzling Gleam isn't going to do much here, but I'll still take it. And they'll get a KO with Dark Pulse. Okay, onto MDD. This grants me a free switch in into the Annihilape. Okay. Tyranitar, Dragon Dance, Rock Slide. Is it really going to be Crunch plus Tera Blast? Like, what are the odds it actually has Tera Blast, you know? So I want to bring in Annihilape right now. I would just, like, feel so sad if I Terra'd just to get hit by a Tera Blast. We know Mimikyu's the last one. No more terrain. So Armarouge really isn't as effective. It's a very interesting position to be in, honestly. I kind of expect, like, Crunch into Armarouge, for example. I don't want to Terra here. I think I'm just going to Drain Punch Klotzer and Armor Cannon Tyranitar. Oh, Tyranitar is... Okay, Tyranitar is slow. Klotzer does not get that KO. They are just going to Rock Slide. Uh-oh. Really surprised they went for Rock Slide there, given that I had revealed Wild Guard. Hopefully we don't get one-shot by Klotzer here. That would be really bad. I don't think it should be able to. It's going to be Water Pulse. It's going to be fairly strong, but okay, we survive. We should be fine here. But the main reason we should be fine is because we're somehow faster than Tyranitar, even with Tyranitar being at +1. That's why I was kind of surprised to actually see Dragon Dance in the first place, because their team is relatively slow. Given that it's like a Trick Room-oriented team. So bring out Abomasnow now. I can Terra here. Drain Punch. Actually, it's better to Rage Fist to cover for the Mimikyu switch in. And Energy Ball into Klotzer. I mean, I think Blizzard's fine here. I'll cover for Mimikyu switching in as well. But yeah, I think Tyranitar being... It probably just doesn't have any speed investment, right? Yeah, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it were min speed. Which then makes it interesting, like, the synergy with it and Dragon Dance isn't as great as you'd want it to be. Tera Annihilape. No Protect, so Rage Fist with KO. Cool. Mimikyu shouldn't have enough firepower to win this game for my opponent, I think. So Tyranitar faints. Okay. And we're just faster as well. So yeah, I think the main thing here was making sure Trick Room just really didn't get to stay out for too long, and we really got to showcase Armarouge in this game, right? It was able to Wide Guard, it was able to reverse Trick Room, it was able to just keep clicking Expanding Force with very little downside. So, let's Rage Fist and Blizzard. And once again, yeah, I think smart team construction in the way that Trick Room can be kind of annoying for the Cetitan to deal with. As a result, we don't actually bring it, and everything else on the team responds very well accordingly. So, Rage Fist now comes out and finishes off the Mimikyu. How else could I play that? I mean, they led Mimikyu plus Armarouge. I think, like, Hydreigon is an interesting lead into that. But it's tough without knowing the items. Plus, since Hydreigon's actually faster than all of our Pokemon, I can't break Disguise before Hydreigon gets a move off. And then, like, Hydreigon would actually be a little bit scared about, like, potential play rough from the Mimikyu. So then I would have to, like, maybe defensively Terra to start the game, which doesn't feel great. Because then I would Terra into Poison, and then their Armarouge can just hit us with super effective damage with Psychic-type attacks. So, yeah, I don't think I really would have changed the lead too much there, ultimately. Okay, for this one, we've got Arcanine, Garchomp, Murkrow, Gardevoir, Goldengo, and the Meowscarada. So, Cetitan offensively is really strong here. I do have to worry about Murkrow Tailwind. For example, I think Murkrow plus Goldengo lead is fairly scary. You know what's interesting in response to that? Like, we could one set up Trick Room, man. All of the Pokemon are decent here. If I were them, I'd probably go Murkrow Goldengo, but that's where, like, Armarouge plus Hydreigon's interesting. I could Wide Guard into Dark Pulse. We could set up our own Tailwind with Hydreigon as well. I'm kind of down for that, because if Hydreigon sets up Tailwind, then it enables Abomasnow plus the Cetitan. Or mainly the Cetitan, I think. Yeah, so with this, I can, like, Wide Guard with Armarouge. I think the interesting debate will be if they go with Murkrow and Golden Go, like, do you expect Wide Guard? And as a result, I could respond by going for Tera Armarouge, expecting Shadow Ball, and then, like, Armor Cannon the Golden Go, and then Tailwind with Hydreigon. It's exciting to feature all these different modes, right? Masquerade Garchomp. Yeah, I don't love that. Yeah, they threatened me with the double KO here. Knock off and then just Dragon Claw. I think I'm going to have to Tera defensively here just to get Tailwind up, but I'm okay with that. Yeah. This is not a great position. I was expecting them pretty heavily to lead the Murkrow Golden Go. Like, I was trying to really counter that, because Abomasnow plus the Titan would have crushed this lead, in my opinion. So, in my head, I was, like, thinking, what are their responses to Abomasnow to Titan? And Murkrow Golden Go would have been, like, the answer I would have gone with from their POV. Okay, they're going to go for U-turn, though. That's already promising, because that means I should actually survive the turn with both Pokemon. And if Tailwind goes up here, that's pretty huge for me. Because basically the way I was thinking about this game is, hey, the Cetitan is really good, but one of the problems is that they can just set up Tailwind and suddenly just outpace me. Problem is Murkrow's coming in here, so we'll be able to just Tailwind next turn. Okay, they go for Earthquake. I would expect to survive. I could have considered a Wide Guard here. That would have been kind of nice. We survive on exactly 1 HP. No Focus Sash. Hydreigon gets Tailwind up. So right now, the Snow Duel is looking really good into Murkrow and Garchomp. Oh, are you Sash Murkrow here? Yeah, okay. Makes sense. They could Tailwind Earthquake. Oh, it was a waste of a Tera on Hydreigon, but I think I had to go for it because the Dragon Claw plus a knockoff looked way too strong there, and I needed a response to that play, so I don't regret it. We could Wide Guard here into Draco. I'm down for that. You know, the other interesting angle... Okay, they're going to Tera here defensively to survive Draco. Makes sense. What's it going to be? Double Poison Dragon Teras. That's fascinating. Okay. Well, Life Orb Draco still does a ton here. Armarouge gets Wide Guard off. Surely Murkrow is going to Tailwind now. Yep. So I'm looking to get Cetitan in and outpace my opponent with Tailwind and Snow up. Good Dragon Claw here. We survive with 9. This is actually perfect because I'll Feint from Life Orb. Unless I miss Draco. Oh. Oh, that's such a bad miss. Because, like, that would have been perfect for me. Hydreigon would have fainted. It would have done a ton of damage. The Cetitan just comes in. Then I can pivot Armarouge out into Abomasnow. So, that's what happens, though. 90% accuracy. Murkrow's probably just faster if it's Focus Sashed. Probably doesn't have any speed investment either. Oh, what a nightmare. That was the worst time to have a miss like that. Okay. Armor Cannon Garchomp. Can't even protect here. I think I just give up old Pokemon. Yeah. I guess I could have switched Hydreigon out there, but I'm not sure. Like, Hydreigon without Protect isn't really that valuable for me in this endgame. The miss was big, but I also, like, didn't have the best lead here, ultimately. I really led in, or kind of expected them to go Murkrow Golden Go, and that not coming out set me back significantly. I don't really see a great out at this point, because the problem is they have staggered their Tailwind by a turn as well. They can miss Rock Slide with the Abomasnow, I guess. Or sorry, with the Garchomp. Plus we have the Snow Boost, Defense Boost, so it's not the end of the world. How many turns of Tailwind do I have? 1? This Poison Tera is a nightmare for me, too. It's one of the worst Teras I could run into. Because if it were ground, I could still just Ice Cold Crash for a KO. That's not the case here. I think I almost feel forced to Aurora Veil here, because otherwise... actually, with Meowscarada in the back, it's looking pretty rough anyway, right? Is there any way I can win this? Maybe a Blizzard Freeze? Icicle Crash Flinch. Actually, yeah, that's it. Icicle Crash Flinch Garchomp. Or crit. Okay. I still don't think it's enough, but I'll take it. That's the only out I could see in my head. Yeah, like, the reality is I did miss that Draco Meteor, but my lead was very suboptimal relative to them, and I felt forced to Terra just to not lose the game on turn 1, and that's never a good sign. They didn't end up going for knockoff Dragon Claw, but I think that's a very good play that would cover for most things that I could do, and so I felt like I needed to respect what felt like the more obvious option. With Golden Goal in the back, though, this is a nightmare. See, they did have Murkrow and Golden Goal, but they had it in the back. So, Abomasnow Cetitan as a lead would have been incredibly strong, in my opinion. And I was expecting them to go the other way, like Murkrow, Golden Goal lead, Abomasnow, Meowscarada in the back. Not Abomasnow, Garchomp, Meowscarada in the back. And Hydreigon fainting was so bad because it was our best answer into Golden Goal, and very solid into Meowscarada as well. I've got a defense boot. I just have no way to hit Golden Goal at this point. Like, I needed Hydreigon and Armarouge for it, so it's looking like it's pretty over. They could just go for Flower Trick onto us here. I think we play for a freeze. If for some reason we're still faster than Golden Goal and can flinch it, that'd be huge too. But this Cetitan has no speed investment, so I don't expect it to. Go for U-turn. Yeah, U-turn, make it rain here. Yeah. GG. You can see how bulky this Cetitan is, though, right? We survived that, which is really nice, but ultimately I tried to call out their lead with Murkrow Golden Goal. They did not, and I get punished for it. But nicely done by my opponent. Like, very nicely done to just not lead that and have the conviction to go with Garchomp, Meowscarada. Okay. Tailwind Peter's out. But there's no way Cetitan can ever win a 2v1 from this angle. I could have protected Abomasnow last turn. That maybe could have done something for us. Protect Abomasnow and then KO Meowscarada, then it's a 2v1. That could have been a better approach, but I was expecting them to actually double up onto the Cetitan. So I was like, well, if you do that, maybe I can get a freeze here. But yeah. If I were to replay that, like, knowing now knowing they were willing to lead Meowscarada plus Garchomp, yeah, I think, like, the obvious adjustment is just Abomasnow Cetitan. Because then we're just pressuring with so much damage, and we outspeed on turn 1, which is really strong. We get the Snow Boost immediately as well. And with that, like, Cetitan can just pressure Meowscarada with an Icicle Crash, and then Abomasnow can set up Aurora Veil. And that's really good for us in the late game. Annihilape maybe is worth considering there, and even considering, like, as a Terra option. But, yeah. That was a really fun set of games. I feel like we got to feature a lot of different modes of the team, so hopefully you have now seen how good... It's not just, like, Cetitan plus Abomasnow, right? It's Abomasnow setting up Aurora Veil often for its teammates, and having multiple different modes to play with, whether it be the Hydreigon Tailwind route or the Armarouge Trick Room route. We've seen a couple of teams in the meta recently, you know, showcase both of those, and I think it's, yeah, just really, really fun and really strong. So thank you to Atmosphere once again for the team. Thank you to you all, as always, for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy, and I'll see you all soon. All right. Peace.